Before Formula 5, I was let's call it a one-man shop. I created a product, I had a website, it was doing some sales, but I knew I needed a system to really make it work, something to monitor what I was doing, something to track the performance and improve the performance. And I'm not really a systems guy. I'm very good at systems, but I'm not the kind of guy who's good at putting them all together and then implementing and then doing all the tracking. So when I saw Formula 5, I was very excited that here was something that looked like it could do all those things that I knew I should do, but was never going to get around to on my own. And I hopped in and started implementing them right away. So the first thing I did was I increased the margins. And I did that pretty simply by raising the price. And it was something I'd thought about doing, but was frankly a little nervous about. And the hardest part was just talking myself into giving it a whirl and seeing what would happen. And when I finally did it, all of those horrible things that I imagined, they did not happen, not at all. In fact, quite the opposite. People responded even better to the product, and I started selling more product right away. So my gross margins, or my gross income, went up 30%, and my net went up 40%. And last week, for example, I did some stuff and I made about $3,000, which is not one of those, I made $1 million in a week thing, but $3,000 in a week is pretty nice. And before Formula 5, had I done all the same stuff, I would have made $700 less. And while $700 doesn't seem like some huge amount of money, when I was sitting around with my wife this morning and told her what we did, that $700 is going to allow us to extend our European vacation this week or this summer by a week. So I'm not complaining about that. The other thing I did is I started adding some other value, some upsells and some other products that I can offer to the people who are on my list and people who bought the program. And that's something I'm still rolling out. I've actually was giving away a lot of that content for free, and I decided to pull that out and make it a separate thing to increase the value of those products themselves and increase the value of the entire package to my users. And they've responded that way. It's been exciting, and I'll be continuing to do that too. The third thing I did is I increased the number of leads that I was bringing into the whole thing to begin with. And I'm doing all this, by the way, totally free. I'm not spending a penny. In fact, I don't spend any money on advertising. Everything I'm talking about is totally free. So I built a new website just for lead generation that has been doing really well from the day it launched. It started out at 100 unique visitors on the first day because I just sent out an email saying, here it is. And now, without me having to promote it, it's getting about 500, 600 unique visitors a day, and the curve is going just straight up. It just keeps getting more popular with more content. I've got over 1,000 index pages, and and the only thing that you can do is read the content or opt into my list. So it's a very effective tool. I'm also tracking conversion a little more. This is one of those things where I haven't fully implemented it yet, but it's part of my plan for this year. Well, for the next couple months. This year, that's way too far. But in the next couple months, I've gotten some great ideas about how to test conversion and improve conversion and see what that does. And I know that on the average, the number of people who opt into my list, I know what the conversion rate is from there. So increasing the conversion from people who just find me, that's going to make a really big difference. And the gist of it is that by implementing all these things from Formula 5, I've taken, I don't like working. Let me preface with that. I've never had a job. I don't like working very much. And so this has given me a really good structure that for now during this growth phase is making it so that in a couple hours a day, I mean, like an hour and a half, 2 hours a day, I've got things that I can do, things that I can track, and I can see the results. Over the course of the year, as this stuff plays out, I mean, when some of these next things that I'm looking at get rolling, I'm going to be able to do less because I won't have to be building. The thing's going to be rolling on its own. I've pushed the ball, it's going downhill, and then I'll be down to maybe a couple hours a week because it's just going to be creating content and nurturing the relationships I have with the people who are using my system. So I'm expecting that this year is probably going to be a threefold increase in revenue over last year. And by the end of this year, there's a good chance this is going to be sort of in retirement mode, where I'm just not going to have to be thinking about it, and it's just going to be doing its thing. And all I'll be doing is the part I like, which is talking to people and sharing the information that I have. So for someone who's asked me about Formula 5, and it happened yesterday, I said, if you're someone who has a business, if you have nothing, I would say wait till you've got something that's happening. If you've got a website, got a product, or know where to find one. But once you've got something, this is a phenomenal set of tools to allow you to manage it, to track it, and to increase the value of it and the success of it in very simple, easily to do incremental steps. I think it's really worth your time and effort.